It's fair to say Ross and I are pretty excited for Ross the Boss. Thanks to POWTSBET. It's grand final time. It's what you play footy for. And the last time these two teams met, Geelong and Richmond, it was the preliminary final last year where the Tigers won by 19 points.
The preliminary final of 2019. It's Richmond and Geelong. Lynch got position again. He's kicked two. Richmond have got three in a row. Comes to Kelly. Kelly snap goal. Graham is in all sorts of trouble. Myers lines him up. Low ball goal. Two chances having a little chat. Over the back. Look at this. They're everywhere. Gets it to Dusty. Oh, wonderful. As a champ gives him a big break. What have the Tigers got? Martin there, making a sharp move here. Oh, that is a mark and a half. He's put them in front and kicked four. Lynch will mark it. He was always going to mark it. 5 goals in a preliminary final. Dion Pestia, he's done it. Deafening crowd. And they get to a second grand final in 3 seasons.
Tommy Lynch kicked 5 on that night, Ross. But I look at these midfields going to this final, this grand final, and look how deep they are. And some of these matchups, the quality of players is phenomenal. And even a player like McIntosh down the bottom has found so much form late in the year.
Well, McIntosh's been enormous wing role. Him and Menegola, they're going to be a great battle just charging up. They'll be exhausted by the end of it. But we've got Brownlow medalists, dual premiership players floating through, and emerging young talent, Parfitt, Shea Bolton. I said he's almost the exciting young men in the competition, but what Parfitt did his last 2 finals, extraordinary. So it's where it's going to be won and lost, and both teams are really fierce around the ball and in form. So it's really exciting. Obviously, with Dangerfield and Martin spending a lot of time forward.
They were too powerful for the Lions in the prelim, this midfield, and obviously Richmond. It's where they overpowered Port Adelaide last week.
They did, and I think if we go right to the top, both coaches will be looking to the ruckman to set the tone. I think Nankervis really delivered in the centre bounces, in particular when the games were up for the grab. So Richmond have gone from 16th to first in the competition. If you look at the numbers there, -4 to +8 in the prelim, where they needed ground position, dominated, and particularly the last quarter. So they've turned it around in there, all credit, but they've got quality. They've got all their quality back. And Geelong are the same. They're a really strong centre square bounce team over the last few weeks.
Yeah, my belief is they can win the clearances that can allow them to try and lock it in their forward line and try and stop that possession-style game that Geelong love to play. Ross, I want to ask you, you know the intricacies of this game better than anyone, the way the half-forwards play at Richmond and how Geelong have to try and counter that. Yeah, well, they're just running machines. So if you see here, they've actually changed their stoppage structure. They've brought up Lambert, typically does, and there's Martin coming up versus Darcy Byrne-Jones. So they're bringing up 2 small forwards to protect the corridor and then release back. But what Port have done is come with them. That's opened up their forward line. So when they go back through, we're going to see here when they win it and chain it out. I think Dusty might get on the end of this, or Edwards, and they kick it forward through Graham and they mark the ball because it's just 4v4. So Geelong are going to have to make the decision. Are we going to come up with them like Port did and open up our back line? Or are we going to play a drop-off player and let Dusty or Lambert go? And that's what would you do? Me, I think because Martin and they flip out a lot, I would take the +1, so then it's easy to pick up who comes. If you come up and they spit out on you, it's hard to find. I think they'll play with drop-off, but I know Geelong don't like to play with drop-off. I love this bit of vision you found also, Geelong and Sam Simpson, and the decision that Richmond will make. So Birchall comes up with Simpson? Yeah, so they threw a spanner, a strategic ploy. They put Simpson into the stoppages, which typically they don't do Geelong. So we'll see Simpson, the small forward, versus Birchall, come up to the stoppage and win the ball and generate. You see Birchall doesn't join in the extra number and they chain it out and create a scoring opportunity. OK, but Richmond, they're not going to be Birchall or Brisbane. They love this. There's Robbie Gray, the best stoppage player in Australia almost. Richmond go, well, you can go. We'll protect the corridor. You're not going to get out through there. If you win the ball, you're going to kick it to Vlosten or Grimes. And this is what's going to happen here. So there's a bit of a scramble. In the end, Port kick it, but their pressure's so good. And here it is there. Vlosten, the free player, typically will mark it or kill the ball. And then they'll counterpunch. So Geelong, are you going to send Simpson up that worked for you last week? Or are you going to hold your 6 forwards to keep them accountable? I think they need to keep them accountable because no, they couldn't score last week, Port, with their spare back against them. And the point you make there is the pressure is that good on the ball. It makes Vlosten and Grimes work. If there was no pressure on the ball, they'd look silly, wouldn't they? 100%. Yeah. And they've turned the weakness around the stoppage. Now they bring up 2 forwards and they say, well, you can win it, but you're not going to score because you're not getting through the corridor. Well,
force you to kick it to our +1. Now, if we win it, we're going back through lack of density because we've got hopefully two defenders to come up with it. So I think Port should have played more drop-off.
Ross, we looked at round 17 when Richmond were far too good for Geelong on the night, and they learn a fair bit from it in the way they need to play and take the game on a little bit.
Yeah, and you've spoken about it a lot. So we know Geelong control the ball, don't turn it over, but they couldn't penetrate against Richmond. But they've learnt their lesson. They've changed gears. So this was the round 17, 23%. First final against Port, 22. And then they've gone, we've got to go quicker, we've got to move it, we've got to score. Handball receives, play on from the mark, 29. And then they went to another gear, 33. So Chris Scott and his match committee and the players are playing with it. I don't like the term dare, but they're taking opportunities to disrupt the opposition defence, and they're scoring, number one, above their season average in a final.
So this is round 17 where they didn't give it. So that's where they didn't give it.
That's Sam Menengola. They would give that this week. And then he'd be playing and they're disrupted. But you watch, they're going to have 6 kicks. Richmond just protect the corridor, force you wide, roll across to the line of the ball. We'll speed it up here because this is how long it takes. They haven't left the back 50. Just now, they'll go back again. And in the end, you turn it over. Richmond love that. And they didn't look like scoring Geelong. But fast forward it. We're going to show you a clip where they win the ball and they take the split. So Menengola gets the ball. He's going to hit Simpson up through the corridor. Now, just stop it there. That's Parfitt. They wouldn't have given that handball. Now they've given it. They go through to a one-on-one and they disrupt the opposition. I think that's why they're an opportunity to score against Richmond compared to last time.
Yeah, this is the other thing I think they learnt. For 3 quarters, it was Hawkins or bust. The last quarter, they threw this man, Asava Radaglia, down there, and they kept the other Richmond defenders occupied. So he's obviously not in the best 22, but that's where they've also made a decision. We're going to play Dangerfield more forward.
100%. I remember Radaglia. You can't be scared to go in against an opposition defence, but when they've got the spare and you've got no presence, you don't go in. But Dangerfield, they've learnt from that, and they've planned for the grand final day with Dangerfield going forward. He's going to absorb Grimes, he's going to absorb Vlosten or whoever it is, and really help Hawkins and Rowan be more dangerous, which we saw against Brisbane. It's a great strategic move. Everyone
wonders why Dusty's so great and why he's such a big finals player. And you feel he picks and he looks at who his opponent is and takes them to places they don't want to go.
Yeah, well, we make a lot of noise how he drops forward and you've got to get a match up for him. But on this occasion, Hartlett had him. It's a slow entry. He was down here with McKenzie. He went, well, you're a tall defender. I'll bring you up the ground and make you defend the crumb. And then, so as it runs, McKenzie's got no idea how to defend him. No body, and he's a scalper with the ball. Not many can kick that. But then at the other end, he come from a stop. He's got Darcy Byrne-Jones. You know what? I'll take you deep and just monster you. So not only do you have to organise it, he'll take you out of your comfort zone depending on whether you're that big or that big. So he's incredibly smart.
And that's why he's so good, because he can do multiple things. He can get you in the air, he can get you at ground level. I just want to,
2 goals out of 6.
Exactly. I just want to talk about Tommy Hawkins and the way, obviously, Richmond have to try and counter Tommy Hawkins. So this is unstoppable. I don't care if you're Steve Silvani. You cannot stop these passes going to Tom Hawkins. It's where they're winning the ball. It's the role of the players around Tom Hawkins, which is magnificent. So that is unstoppable. But we go back to round 17. Look at where they're kicking the ball from. If you can get it in long and high, Grimes can do this. And look how frustrated he is. If you're Richmond, you want to get Tommy angry early and frustrated.
100%. So it's about pressure on the ball carrier. Those long, high kicks, hangs for 40 metres. Well, Grimes can make up 30 metres, leave his opponent. But when you're flowing and you hit a little hit up, it's very hard to get a roll-off player. So again, as we know, Richmond are a great pressure team, as are Geelong. It's going to be pressure on the ball carrier and not allow easy hit-ups to Hawkins.
Ross, we've delved pretty deep in the tactics of it, but the most important stat is accuracy on goal, and we've highlighted some other big games where they've kicked inaccurately and it's cost them the game.
Yeah, well, Grant, I remember sitting at that game. Like the Kangaroos, I think, at half-time were... Like, that's 8-22. They've had more shots. I know Saints 09, we sort of dominated early and just missed a lot of shots. Collingwood blew it almost in the drawn grand final. And clearly Hawthorn, 26 shots to 21. So for everything we've done, and we've seen it already, if you can't pick up the ball and put it through the sticks, you need to be able to finish grand final day.
Ross says the odds, the Tigers are the favourites. I want not only a tip, but also a Norm Smith medalist from you today.
I haven't even thought about the Norm Smith. I don't like individual awards. I won't leave with you. Maybe Sam McClure over there on his phone might be able to give us something. But
I like it.
But look, my heart
hey guys,
says.
he's not joining Caroline Wilson's bridge club like she was doing last week.
We love you, Sam. Look, I can't split them. I think they both going in great form. I think it will come out of any of those players, really, whoever takes their opportunity. I think Martin would be odds on if he gets room to move. So.
You nailed it. Last week you walked in and said Geelong will beat Brisbane by 6 goals.
Yeah.
And you nailed it. So who wins this grand final, Ross?
Honestly, I'm loath to predict.
No,
I know I'm
you
sitting
have
on
to.
the
It's
fence.
grand final night.
Look, my heart says Geelong.
Yeah.
I really think they've done some hard. I think they've steeled themselves. But the speed of Richmond and that really hard prelim is going to make it incredibly challenging. And I think they might just be able to pip Geelong. Whoever stands up around the ball, really.
Yeah. With not a heap of confidence because they're so good, Sam, I'm with Richmond as well.
That's the best you can come up with after watching all of that, is it, Ross? The best you can come up with.
I've crumbled.
Caro, a tip?
Why I couldn't get a cup, crumbled in the last quarter.
It's been Richmond all day. Something's happened in the last 15 minutes.
Can you see your Tigers being beaten?
Tigers, I think, will win on Saturday, and I think Noah Bachar will win the Norm Smith medal.
Ed, a tip and a Norm Smith?
I'm going for Richmond and Dustin Martin, and it'll be magnificent in that Amazon documentary.
Oh, Eddie. Oh, goodness
Sammy,
me.
give us a tip.
Geelong by 10 and Dangerfield in his first grand final.